As if the desert was not bad enough for a far-flung, dire halfling who was short on food, water and pack animals, I had to contend with another of the little-known pests of Faerun, measuring up to a full foot long. The bright blood-red bugs, called dragon beetles, are very nasty looking, covered in spikes that will cause painfully itchy welts wherever they stick you, barbs and spines all over the 6 legs and the head, with little horns like a tiny triceratops thunderbeast. The dragon beetles are very unusual for a beetle in that they are highly social and insects, forming complex groups called nests. The reason this is quite a problem is that, like ants raiding your picnic lunch, the dragon beetles will sniff out any fresh or preserved meat in your provisions and tear apart your gear to get at it. Then, rather than staying there and eating it immediately, as most beetles do, these beetles grab it and take it away, back to the nest for consumption or to feed the next generation of red, waddling thieves. I've faced all kinds of serious threats, vicious Oran-Vorax, invasions of Ankhegs, conversations with peckish dragons, but these stupid scarlet bugs damn near killed me just from eating all of my food, and sadly I couldn't kill the beetles and eat them as the things are quite toxic. I did track them back to their nest site though, and decided I was going to burn the whole lot of the dark crimson beetles and all of their offspring just out of spite, though I was justifying my murderous intentions by rationalizing that I could not stand by and let these animals kill another lonesome sage far from home. What I didn't count on was that their nest, located in a humble little pile of boulders or somewhere down underground with an entrance in the boulders, was going to lead me into one of the most secret locations in all of Faerun. Now, I'm returned safe and sound to Candlekeep. I have no idea exactly where that nest is located, as I don't remember anything after I first approached that region of small piles of rocks in the sandy flats known as the Roarin Dust Desert. My memory just tells me I woke up at least 100 miles away in the plains of purple dust, much closer to Bright Star Lake, fully healed, well fed, hydrated, and with no idea what had just happened, other than the fact that I was missing a few items. My food supply was restocked with hard little cubes of compressed bread, and my journal was almost full with my own handwriting, and I could not recall putting it in there at all. I should mention, when I travel, I keep my journals very well concealed, using a fairly rare item called a little big box, made by my family for a number of generations. It's like a little wooden and steel bound case that folds open and then it folds open again and again and again until you finally open the lid on a decent sized treasure chest, which is again bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. The trick with the little big box is that it is folded, not located inside any other extra dimensional spaces. It's just compressed. So there are a set of rules around folding up things. Most folks know you can only fold a bit of paper 8 times. Well, a normal sized sheet of paper, a 4,000 foot sheet of paper, tissue paper, can be folded 12 times. The inside space of a treasure trunk has its own set of rules, as does specifically treated enchanted black duskwood. In hindsight, I should have kept my dried meats in there along with my journals and spare clothes. Oh well. The important thing is, the little big box doesn't radiate magic. The outside of the box is entirely non-magical. The inside is very magical, but when folded up, it looks like nothing more than a little spice box or a tinder box for cooking. Most folks pay little attention to all the cooking supplies an average halfling carries with them, so nobody ever steals my little big box. Honestly, dwarves and elves are justified in their famous crafting skills, but everyone overlooks that you simply cannot match the pots, pans, wooden spoons, and other mundane items that the halflings create. There is a reason that the halflings wear pots as battle helmets, and you can put a stop to a fight just by waving a magic spoon and using it to reduce temperatures from a boil and calm all emotions in the immediate vicinity. But I digress. The dragon beetles are not that hard to deal with one-on-one, or so I thought, but those we see roaming around the surface world looking for dead animals to drag back underground are the typical beetle-shaped deep crimson with black-edged shells, rather nasty stinger on the rear end. Well, it's unpleasant, but much worse for dragons and dragonkin. More on that in a moment. Unlike actual beetles, these critters have no wings at all. They are more like the beetles that have turned into ants, much like ants have evolved from wasps, more or less. They might be native to Toril, they might be from any number of other worlds or planes of existence. They don't have any special supernatural abilities though. I suspect they evolved on the world of a bear and arrived on Toril some time ago, or always existed on both worlds. There does seem to be much more of them in the deserts of the ancient east, also where you tend to find a lot more dragonborn. Dragonborn take these pests a lot more seriously, as the venom in the dragon beetle's stinger is much more deadly to all draconic life. A bite is the primary attack of the dragon beetle. Remember, there is almost always a group of these things, 2d6 individuals that will all become very agitated the moment they smell the alarm chemicals one of them is spraying around itself. Their eyesight and hearing are not very good. I don't think they can see much past 30 feet even in bright daylight, and rely almost entirely on scent marking and chemical signals to navigate as a group and communicate basic activity modes to each other. They are no more intelligent than ants. Their stats are basically the same as the giant fire beetle with the following changes. The bite inflicts 1d4 plus 1 slashing damage. They don't produce any form of illumination, of course. Their ability to scent track gives them advantage on wisdom checks involving the sense of smell or taste, and allows them to follow after the scent of decay from much greater ranges. Their tail stinger is plus 1 to hit one adjacent target that inflicts 1 point of damage. However, draconic creatures need to make an immediate DC 10 saving throw or take 2d8 poison damage. If the damage reduces the draconic victim to 0 hit points, they slip into a stable but poisoned and paralyzed condition for 1 hour. Save ends. Of course, snapping out of the paralysis with one of your arms snipped off and carried away to food chambers is a terrifying prospect, so kobolds and dragonborn tend to shoot these things on sight. Within the nest, dragon beetles can also be found in soldier and leader body types. The soldiers don't just bite, they swap their stingers for scorpion-like tails with great big pincer, snipping claws on the end. They are larger and use the same stat block as a giant spider. Leader types are not gender specific, which makes them quite unlike ants and bees and such. They can be found in the food and egg laying chambers, protected by formidable warrior types. They have the same bite stats as the warrior, and which are plus 2 to hit and inflict 1d6 plus 3 slashing damage. Plus, the stinger of the leaders has more damaging venom. The save DC is 12 and their venom inflicts 2d12 poison damage plus paralysis unless the draconic beings make the saving throw. Nests of up to 16 beetles can be found in underground ruins, in cramped caves, and even in thick clumps of underground vegetation. At least half of the nest ranges out to hunt every day, seeking recently killed creatures or prey that a group of beetles can easily take down. A man-sized creature can be consumed over the course of a week or last for as long as 2 months, preserved and stored as a depository for eggs. The females lay their eggs in the carcass. When the eggs hatch in about 1 month's time, the newborn beetles feast upon the remaining flesh until they are strong enough to emerge and join the rest of the nest. Adventurers locating a dragon beetle nest can sometimes find treasure on these egg-infested carcasses, as the insects have no interest in anything other than the meat content, of course. Encountered all alone, dragon beetles are not aggressive. They will run off if disturbed. If cornered, they just stand rigidly still and make a hissing sound but won't fight back. It's only when you get 2 or more together that they become very aggressive. Anything that approaches closer than 10 feet is going to get a bite from them. Oh, I should mention that the stinger venom also leaves a nasty red scar on draconic creatures. Attacking the nest, the whole population becomes frantically aggressive, getting a +1 bonus to hit and any bite damage. It is possible to extract the dragon beetle venom and coat weapons with it. Each beetle can produce 14 uses of the venom, and each dose is good for a single effect. On a naked blade, the poison remains potent for 1 day. In a glass or ceramic container, the venom keeps for a week. Crude armor and shields can be fashioned from the scarlet shells of the dragon beetles, although this is a painstaking process and requires proper knowledge of crafting techniques. The end result is actually quite striking, and ornate Desert Kingdom palace guards sometimes include giant insect shell components in their elaborate uniforms, particularly the elaborate headdresses. Coming up next, the Aurium Dragon, followed by some remarkable dragon revelations. But for now, my name is AJ Pickett. I make videos about role-playing game lore, particularly monsters and exotic planes of existence. Thank you for joining me, and as always, I'll be back with more for you very soon.